Hello again, it's Peter and it's Sylvia. We talk about mental health in general and in business in particular. And we talk, and that's the exciting thing about today because there seems to be a trend out there where people have stopped talking, they are texting, they are messaging. And we just wonder, is it a generational thing? Is it something else? And as therapists, we have all sorts of people coming through our doors. There are all sorts of problems and issues and ways in which they want to work with us. I do a lot of my work online. I have some few clients who insist on the phone. Some come and see me in the office behind me. And I know, Sylvia, you have another version going on.
Yes, it's something that's I've noticed just recently, like you, in my work, it's in person or online, so you can see the person or on a video call. But just recently, I've noticed I do quite a lot of work for a 24/7 helpline, and we have three options. We have phone call, live chat, which is tapping on a keyboard, or text messaging. And the amount of people now are now choosing text messaging or live chat. So there's no verbal communication, and it's ping pong. I tap and then the other person taps. And it's very regulated. It's a bit like tennis. I message, they respond. Now, there's a couple of things that I wonder about. Firstly, the actual practicalities of that, because we can often talk far quicker than we can type.
Mhm.
So sometimes someone is typing their message, and then obviously you're waiting for them to type. Sometimes you're not sure whether they finished. So sometimes there can be a bit of an overlap. So you're responding to a message that they sent before, or one, two, or three messages back. But my main wonder is when we talk, we physically get the words out of our systems. And it seems, and I wonder whether the reason why people aren't talking and why they're finding it hard to talk verbally like we're doing today is because they're so used to texting, they've perhaps lost the art of speaking, and also perhaps whether there's a worry or concern that once those words are gone, they're gone. Now, the counter argument to that is once they're tapped into a computer or on a text, they're recorded there. Whereas if we speak, there's no, unless we record the video, there's no recordation. And it's almost as if, and I wonder if that's adding to people's struggles, that they don't want to talk verbally. So it's all down to just tapping, and whether that's exacerbating the struggles that people have, that they'd rather tap than speak. And it's a very interesting development I've noticed over the last, say, 2 or 3 months. People are opting for text rather than speaking, and this isn't a generational thing. This is of all ages. So it's really interesting. Perhaps the neuroscience, the physicality behind talking. Perhaps there's some sort of control thing about tapping. Because I personally feel speaking is still the best and most appropriate way to converse, communicate, have a conversation. I don't know what you think about that, Peter.
It is one of those difficult ones because there are benefits and there are drawbacks.
Yes.
And I would rather have a communication with a client than no communication with a client.
Yes.
If they're more comfortable texting or WhatsApping, whatever the means may be, then I would rather do that than not have them talk to me at all.
Mm.
Sometimes I find that people are texting because it creates a little bit more distance.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yes.
like people seem to think they can be rude and obnoxious and all sorts of things on social media because, oh, it's, there's a distance. they wouldn't say the same things to a person face to face. So I think there's a little bit of hiding going on, a little bit of comfort, safety blanket going on. What I don't particularly like about it is I'm not big myself on texting.
Mm-hmm.
I overcome this by having my phone text messages synchronized with my laptop as well, so I can use the keyboard, and WhatsApp is on my laptop as well, so I can use the keyboard instead of one finger on the phone, because I'm not young enough to know how to do two thumbs at the speed of lightning. I have no idea how they do that, but it's impressive.
Mm.
So I have a couple of clients who sometimes text me or email me, and that's by agreement, because if there's something going on in between sessions, I would rather they tell me about it than store it all up and perhaps make things worse in the meantime. So I do have a mixture, but I had never had a client who's entirely texting.
Mm.
And what I see as a problem in communication there is you can only read what is on the line.
Yeah.
You can't, you and I are trained to listen between the lines as well and go behind the what we just see at face value. But you cannot always get the emotions and how the person looks and feels whilst they're speaking when it comes through as a few lines of text.
Mm.
Interspersed with some abbreviations that I have no idea what mean, and I have to ask. But maybe that's a generational thing.
Mm. But it's interesting, and I'm talking here about having a 50-minute counselling session purely conducted on text messaging. And I think for me, the wonder is, why are people finding it so much easier to text? And I've texted people before now to set up the meeting. Would you like to, to speak? Oh no, I find it difficult to speak, is one of the ones I've got back. I find it difficult to speak. I'd rather text. And my sort of curiosity is, why do you find it difficult to speak? Is that not one of the reasons why, or contributory factor to the struggles, to be able, we've spoken before about, to be able to articulate or express oneself, yet they would tap it into a keyboard? And as you say, when someone is in a different frame or state of mind, the written word is the written word. We can't have intonation or pauses or the tone and the pace of our voices. So I also wonder, and I'm very aware that when I do a response, that the person at the other end reading that response may not be in the frame or state of mind to receive my message as I intend.
Mm.
And that's another concern that I have with text sessions. And then how do they then know if I write something that my intention and my impact is the same, because they might not have been in a frame or state of mind to receive that message the way I intend it to be received. But it's more around, why is it that people are so reluctant to physically speak their emotions? It's a curiosity, and as I say, I wonder whether it's adding to why people are in these struggles, because they don't want to talk. Is there something about talking versus tapping? What is the physiological difference for some people versus other people?
I think there could be something else going on. I know that I've had WhatsApp back and forth with a client because she was in a cafe. So she could have a private conversation in a public place because she was tapping away on her phone. So that could be one scenario. Another one could be that a lot of people find phone calls quite intrusive. The ringing, someone is barging in on my life, and they don't want to be that person who does it either. I have very few out of the blue phone calls from clients because they don't want to interfere with my working day. So they send a text or an email instead. And it's almost like, you knock on the door, and if there's a yes, come in, you come in. And if not, then we wait. So there could be something along those lines happening as well. But very often I think as you, there's something stopping them from talking. And maybe it feels more real or serious, bordering on dangerous if I hear myself say this. Or there could be a fear of, what would your facial expressions as a therapist be? What would the feedback be? So it's somehow safer. Send the message and then wait for the response instead of the instant feedback that you might get.
It's interesting, isn't it? And it's just a development that's been happening, and it's just a curiosity as to why this is happening. I get some people might want to be in a public place and have a private message for all sorts of reasons, and in the way the helpline that I'm talking about is run. If they are referred to me, the caller will then call me, so they are calling me, not me calling them. But it's just this sense that, oh, I'd rather not speak, I'm okay to text, and yet they are putting their words still in the text, but they'd rather tap it with their fingers than use their mouth. And it's interesting why what's going on. It's a curiosity and a wonder. But also, as I said, on another level, is how that potentially can affect the progress, the relationship, the work that can be done between, the counsellor and the counsellee, client, whatever phrase you wish to use. Is that being stifled? Could better progress be made verbally? It's a development that's happening, and it's a curiosity and a wonder of the direction that's going in terms of the effect it can have on the work that can be done in that relationship. Does it develop rapport as much as having a verbal conversation? Does it enhance the depth of work as much as a verbal conversation? I don't know yet. It's an interesting development.
And I think it's something we'll probably hear more of and hear more about as this practice perhaps continues. I just think there might be some kind of protecting yourself type of thing going on. I know I've been around long enough, and you could probably have the same experience of misinterpreting an email. Where you look at the words that are there and you misinterpret them because it's only words on a black and white type of thing, and I got it wrong. Absolutely got it wrong, and that was not how it was intended. That was not how it was meant, and I couldn't hear that, and I didn't spot it on my screen or on the paper that was not what the sender originally wanted to say. So we still have that same element of error in text counseling. Would I do text counseling 50 minutes back and forth? Yes, I would, if that was what the client wanted. As I said, I would rather work with a client than not giving that client any help at all. So as usual, we ended up in this cul-de-sac where we do not have the answers.
No.
We do not have the, hey, this is why, guys, listen to this. But it would be interesting if those of you who have followed this conversation would tell us what you think is going on. Because you might be in the middle of it in a different way than we are, or in the same way. So let us know what you think, and thank you for staying with us.
I'd love to hear other people's thoughts.
Absolutely. And see you in a later video. Take care.
Here we go. Bye-bye.